New World Dev has had a huge Q&A and perhaps leaked something massive, such as increased gear score, a level cap increase as well. And we finally know what the new expansion is going to be, but let's be honest, is this the comeback or the final nail in the coffin? In this video, I'll break down exactly what they reveal and tell you if New World's future is bright or dead on arrival. We do know we're going to be getting a gear score increase. Now, we don't know the exact numbers of this gear score increase. It could be 800, 850, or even 750, but what we do know is this implies more than likely a huge power jump. While the current cap is 725, they're talking like they want to increase this significantly, just like when they did from 600 to 700 a few years ago. This will also come with a level cap increase. I would bet when the new zone is released, we'll probably be getting 5 extra levels. So no longer will be sitting at 65, we'll be sitting at 70 for the newest patch to come, which is a breath of fresh air, which means new caps could be increased for attributes as well, because at this point, if we're increasing our gear score and our level again, there might be now, instead of the max being 350 attributes, we could have 400 now, which would add more diversity and interesting builds on the table. I can definitely see them doing this, and I'm excited to see that. Along with the gear sets, maybe some gear sets give you bonus attributes as well, hitting those thresholds even easier. We'll just have to wait and see. The new zone has been confirmed that it's going to be vampires and werewolves. So if you're an enjoyer of the night, you should be happy about this. I also hope that we're going to get our own unique passive skill lines for vampires and werewolves. They've done this in ESO, where when you become a werewolf or a vampire, you get unique passives that apply to all builds. And I would love to see something here. Having even more build variety into the game is always welcomed. New endgame progression system. Well, they're adding Umbreals back, baby. They removed them and now they're bringing them back. So we have a full endgame rework coming. We have to grind for specialized sets as well, whether that be maybe a life-stealing build. You could have a CC build, a crit build, a full-on damage build. We don't know what we're going to be getting, but what we do know is these sets are going to work heavily like they did in ESO, where they have 5 set bonuses, and you can come with like 2, 4, and 5, I believe is how the sets are going to be made, which should make for interesting build dynamics, as you will have 3 slots being queued up with artifacts. So I would imagine the other parts of the sets will come from your weapons that are not your artifacts. Unless they allow artifacts to apply to all sets, or you can choose which your artifact applies to. That'd be very cool as well, even adding more customization. But I think they're going to go the route of artifacts don't apply to your sets whatsoever. You have to be actually wearing one of those pieces of gear. This should shake up the meta a lot and finally give that build diversity people have been crying for years. And it really feels like the devs have started to step up their game here, and they're no longer sleeping at the desk. They did talk a little bit about Procedural Dungeons coming in Season 10. It's going to be solo start enabled, and then you can be backfilled with other players. So I'm not sure how this will exactly work. If we're going to get you queue by yourself and then you rock in with the boys, and after you kill the first boss, you can then enter the dungeon with everyone else, or maybe they have it like that. That sounds pretty cool. You beat the first boss by yourself, you go in, then you call in the boys, and you do the rest of the dungeons with the squad. It was inspired by traditional dungeon crawlers with randomized layouts and set pieces. This should have huge replayability, allowing us to get some more prolonged content from, I would presume, the limited budget. Overall, at the moment, I think the game is going in a great direction, and with this new dev video that they've released, I think that pretty much confirmed it. They're back on the ball and they've locked in, dude. Boys, I know you want new weapons, and we got them. 3 new weapons are in development. Yes, 3, but they won't be coming in Season 10. They'll be coming in after Season 10, whether that be the mid of Season 10 or maybe even in Season 11. But they did say they had 3 weapons in development. Now, what could those be? I have no idea. But I would imagine they could be anything from daggers to dual pistols, or maybe even a grimoire here. Who knows what we'll be getting? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments below of what you think our new weapons are going to be. Personally, I'm hoping for a new melee weapon, the halberd. I love that type of weapon style, but sadly, I don't think they're going to introduce that, as we already have lots of strength and dex weapons. Now, they did mention attribute system rework. It was kind of a cryptic tease, boys, with the gear interactions are changing. So they could be a new system here, or they could be a system like I mentioned earlier, where it goes up now higher to 400, which I think is a really good idea. Or they could have different thresholds depending if the attributes are coming from your gear or the points you spec into, therefore even allowing more customization. But the major downside of this would be it would make kind of getting an optimal build a lot harder, and I think it would definitely hurt the casual player base a bit more, but it would definitely add more customization. There was a question about, can you get all the gear in the entire game just by PvEing? Well, no, the dev still wants you to PvP, so those PvP players out there who love seeing those fresh off the factory line PvE players into the OPRs or 3v3 so they can farm them, don't worry, they'll still be coming your way for that free easy kill, because the devs want you to earn a full 800 gear score through PvP only. Whether that be artifacts or maybe even optimal sets as they alluded to, but PvP only progression will still not replace PvE entirely. It's just a way to get certain gear and certain sets, I would imagine. Now, they did say they're adding a new story arc, or a next story arc in their words. I was hoping it was going to be a corrupted base story, but it looks like it's going to be around werewolves and vampires, which if you're like that, cool, but I was hoping for more lore and building of the world around us than just a knockoff story arc, but hey, maybe it's easier to make. I'm not sure. Next up, they're Capture the Flag coming in Season 9, and they'll be disabling OPR for about 1 to 2 weeks, I believe, which will be very interesting because OPR is the primary game mode many of those sweaty PvPers enjoy. Now, I'm personally happy for this because I don't really like OPR. I much prefer 3v3s, and I can't wait to try out Capture the Flag because I didn't get to try it earlier. Now, I hope, and I mean I hope, we don't allow pre-mades more than 2 or 3 in these. It's really toxic. Even OPRs at 5-man can completely carry you to victory if they're all in Discord, you know, sweating. It's very unfun for the people who want to queue in solo or just like with their friend. I think you should definitely limit the pre-mates to 1 to 3 people max in Capture the Flag, where you only can have 10 players. So you're not getting ran over by these insanely sweaty 5-mans and makes the game mode feel unfun. So I pray, and I mean I pray, I'm on my knees over here, man. Like, please, please, please don't allow 5 stacks and Capture the Flag. I don't care, dude. You can keep them in OPR, but they should not be allowed to set foot in Capture the Flag. It's just not balanced. Speaking of balance, let's talk about balance changes. Haste is getting nerfed, but we already knew about that, and it's a much needed nerf as everyone's running around like they're a crack addict, and you can't really stop them. Void Gauntlet, the Void Blade has been nerfed. I think that's much needed. I've seen a lot of little goblins running around with Void Blade spamming the R1 here, with having no idea how to play the game, but they can just pretty much kill me if I'm not like on my A game because of how broken that is. Sword and Shield getting nerfed. I mean, yes, that needs a nerf. Upheaval is disgusting. Like I mentioned earlier, it can hit for upwards to 8,000 to 9,000 with my build, and I'm not even running light. So imagine if you're optimized for Upheaval here, you can probably hit past 10,000 in some instances if you're really pushing the damage numbers. It's just not a balanced build, and it definitely needs a nerf. You have Hatchet, Berserk nerf, duration unless attacking. This is good, reduces the survivability of pesky healers. I do think they also need to do something like this to Rapier. Just make it so life staff can't use Rapier Hatchet. This would completely change the meta. And it would also nerf them into the ground and make them a way more skillful class to play. Stoneform is getting nerfed. I do think this is perhaps needed, as this is basically a get out of jail free card all the time, plus it heals you, which definitely can suck if you're fighting someone with Stoneform, and it's basically the best slot ultimate to use, like hands down. Maybe we'll get more into using that leeching Heartstone now. That one's pretty solid, and this will give me a reason maybe to switch back. And sadly, we have no Fire Staff, and I would also say Ice Gauntlet nerf here. I think Tomb has way short of a cooldown. If you ever watch me live, make sure to come check that out. But you'll see me fighting these Ice Gauntlet little rats that like to tomb every 2 seconds because of the way it works with its storm. It's way too broken in my opinion, and it needs a nerf. You should not be able to tomb every 3 or 4 seconds. and then just wait like 8 seconds for it to come back up, and then you have 2 tombs again. Not balanced, way too much survivability. Makes a melee player basically impossible to kill a Ice Gauntlet player if they have a brain. And then Fire Staff not being nerfed, I think, is an active war crime, and I think the devs at this point have confirmed they play mages. Fire Staff using Flamethrower can kill me about the same way Void Gauntlet Blade can kill me. No skill, just looks at me and I melt away into melted butter. But sadly, this has not been nerfed yet either, and I am over here crying my eyes out because it's very easy to use and it's very broken, which is always a bad combination to have in any game. Farming system where you can plant your own crops and grow like you're playing Farm Build, still in development. It won't be releasing in Season 10. It might never release, who knows. It looks like it's just like a test theory type style here. And big news, boys, no fresh start this server this time, which means if you guys want to get a head start, you gotta get in now. If you haven't been playing New World, you better get on a server and you better start grinding, because with no fresh start, you are going to be significantly behind and you will be getting cucked by the people who have been playing the game. So I highly recommend getting your level all the way up to 65, getting some decent gear so you can get into the content that will be released at the end of October. Unless you want to be super far behind, because that is insane. I'm very surprised they're not doing this fresh start. They've done this every other season except this season. Server merges are also incoming. They're removing the fresh tag so you can go wherever you want. That's cool. Not really a big thing. PlayStation and console players have been ramping up into the New World of Tournament experience. That's nice. New players are always very welcomed. I definitely think the console release was the correct play in terms of giving New World a bit more player numbers, which gives New World more money, which then allows them to make more content, which is very good for us PC players who have been sitting around the same amount of player base, well, 8,000 for months and years on end. The major reveal will be in September, so nothing at Gamescom here, so sad to say, but you know, we pretty much know what's coming our way. And with that, boys, that's going to be my little review here. If you guys enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about all these new informationies we are getting. And with that, peace.